Hello EV lovers, I am your host Daniya Fatima. Welcome to our first ever podcast series of EVkiBaat.
स्वागत नहीं करोगे हमारा? मैं हूं आपका होस्ट नीलांजन चक्रबोर्ती
और हम बात करेंगे लेटेस्ट EV ट्रेंड्स और डेवलपमेंट्स के बारे में। तो इस शुरुआत को और धमाकेदार बनाए नीलांजन।
बिल्कुल। और इस धमाकेदार शुरुआत के लिए आज हमारे साथ होने वाले हैं हमारे कंपनी के फाउंडर चेयरमैन मिस्टर उदय नारंग।
So chalo, let's get ready for a zordar conversation with Mr. Uday Narang about how India can become a global superstar. EVs के साथ EV की बात में.
Welcome Mr. Narang to our first edition of EVkiBaat.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. And, thank you so much for the warm welcome. EVkiBaat is a tremendous initiative that you all have taken at OSM. I believe with this podcast, we have a unique opportunity to engage in a meaningful dialogue with all of the customers, with all of the dealers, and the entire industry at large. It's very important. The transition to electric vehicles is a crucial step forward towards greenhouse gas emissions. And mitigating those in timely manner is an extremely important and what I think all of you are trying to do, and I think what we at all OSM have been doing, is to bring green energy and sustainability to the fore. And what it is we basically want the entire generation of men and women, I talk about Nari Shakti, to bring and switch to sustainable transportation. This is very important. In this regard, I look forward to put my insights with you and our listeners at large. It is something that all the listeners, all of you out there, is important that you hear and you see what is going on in this industry. I'm confident that through our collective efforts, we can provide valuable information to the entire country and globally. And what's important is the businesses can make informed decisions about their transportation choices. This is the need of the hour. Green energy and sustainability is something that every one of you, all of you, need to be part of. Thank you.
तो इस पहले पॉडकास्ट में हम बात करेंगे भारत की G20 प्रेसिडेंसी के ऊपर एंड हम उदय जी से राय लेंगे उनकी कि कैसे इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल से इकोनॉमी में बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट आने वाला है।
देखिए, global economy is still recovering from COVID-19, the pandemic that took a lot of challenges, and it made life difficult for everyone. This is something that we have seen a significant disruption in global supply. Supply. I tell to everyone, I speak to everyone, having control of supply chain is extremely important. The world recently saw global financial institutions like SVB and Credit Suisse, which have been, huge institutions, and that created financial, instability around the world. At the G20, which you talked about, is extremely important that we believe the delegates from all of the world will be able to discuss and address and see the challenges, bringing financial, the stability into this country and to the world and to promote. The key part is always proposing and promoting sustainable economic growth. It is something that we all need to, again, focus on as this is the need of the hour.
That sounds like a really daunting task. On the other hand, if we look at India's economic movement, its position as we enter the year 2023, it is poised to become one of the world's fastest growing economies in the emerging markets. Its projected GDP is at a growth rate of around 7%. What are some factors which you believe are going to impact this?
If you look at it, India's economic resurgence has been remarkable post the pandemic shock of 2021-22. So much has changed. The country has shown remarkable resilience. I travel the country from the north to the south, from the east to the west. This country is on the move. I believe we've got our young men and women, and I'm again going to talk about Nari Shakti. 48% of that population needs to be part of this growth. India has taken so many steps towards physical and monetary measures and to support businesses, which is extremely important. We want to stimulate demand and investment. India has also benefited really from a favorable external environment. Attracting record flow of direct investment, the FDI. If you look today, the Indian stock market is back to an all-time high because foreign investors believe in India. Not only do we believe, nor do I at OSM believe, but Everyone believes India is the destination. It is not just incredible India, it is investment India. I will tell all of you, as per the data, the FDI inflows in India have reached a historic of 81.72 billion in FY21. If you see, this will increase in a much, much faster space. The inflows have been prevalent in sectors like digital. Digital has lead in not just in India, but the world. If you look at technology, if you look at e-commerce, if you look at renewable energy, infrastructure, and manufacturing, this is all led in a big way. And if you look at it, the development bodes well for a country's economic future. I think creating a positive outlook of growth and job creation, I think a future of India will be a very, very bright, where we are the third largest economy, we are the third largest automobile market already, we are the largest population, and we are leading from the front. And I want to say this, I do not want the Sundar Pichais or the Satya Nadellas of this country going to America. They need to build here. I want my young men and women not look to the shores of Australia or Canada or Europe, but build in India, make in India, and make India a proud nation. I am believing that a future India will bring all of this.
Okay, so a very stable government, a favorable economic condition from internal as well as external factors, as well as a resurgence in the transportation sector, especially because of electric vehicles. Do you believe this can also percolate to the global economy?
The global electric market is expected to reach 803 billion by 2027, growing at a CAGR of 22.6 from 2020 to 2027. This represents a massive opportunity for countries like India to invest in electric, in green energy, in manufacturing, in infrastructure, create new jobs and drive economic growth. Economic growth will pull India to be a global player. Days are gone when India was considered to be a backward country. Our men and women are leading, and I think the shift towards electric vehicles or green energy will also help reduce our dependence on global fuels and lower carbon emissions. This is the need of the hour, making it a win-win for both the environment and the economy. India first, भाइयों बहनों, इंडिया को रखो पहले और ये इसी में हमारी जीत होगी.
Of course, as you rightly said, we have to reduce our dependency on fuel imports. A major part of our fiscal deficit is because of the global crude prices rising up, and we are spending more and more dollars in getting this crude imported to India. Can you give me more examples on how electric vehicles can boost the economy in India as well as globally?
Sure. I'll share some interesting data I came across the other day. According to a report by the International Energy Agency, it is something that we need to think about. Electric vehicles can play a very crucial role in reducing our dependence on fossil fuels and lowering carbon emissions. This is extremely important. A study in the report suggests that by 2030, electric and other can displace 2 million barrels of oil per day, which is equivalent to the current production of Iraq and Venezuela. Think about that. That amount of money can be used for education of our women, of our kids, better healthcare, better transportation, better infrastructure, at a bigger and a greater India. The dream that all of us at OSM believe is very possible. In addition, if you look at it, investing in electric vehicles can also create new job opportunities in manufacturing, research, and development. This is extremely important. In India, for example, it is estimated the electric vehicle can create up to 10 million jobs by 2030. This is, again, very impressive. In addition, the growth of electric vehicles can also lead to development of new business opportunities. Multiple areas, according to a report by Navigant Research, if you look at it, the global electric charging station market is expected to grow from 1.3 billion in 2020 to 18 billion by 2030. These are some staggering numbers. The growth can also help businesses, opportunities for charging, for charge station operators, service providers, and other related industries. Overall, the promotion of all of this, electric vehicles included, can have a significant impact on the economic development of our country. Jobs, jobs, and jobs. It's essential governments, businesses, private, public, individuals work together.
That's a great point. What are some of the challenges that you believe need to be addressed to get this eruption in the electric vehicle industry?
Look, challenges are significant also, and they need to be addressed. This is not going to be a walk in the park, as we say in England. This is going to be a real marathon, not a sprint. First, there is significant, if you look at the cost of premium for electric vehicles compared to traditional, ICE engines, this is definitely a barrier to adoption, especially in developing countries like India, in Europe, in the United States. A high-priced vehicle can be adjusted. Second, there's a need for significant investment in charging infrastructure. This is the need of the hour and needs to be done. Finally, there's a need of regulatory framework to promote the growth of electric vehicles. And what's important is we want a government where the policies like this. When the policies are like this, it really puts a large amount of pressure on OEMs, on the ecosystem. I want to build the entire village, not a hut.
Absolutely. As you rightly said, the pricing has been a significant issue. If you look at how the prices of electric vehicles in the US has been moving, Tesla initially brought in the Roadster, which was, if I'm not wrong, in around $1 million. Then they slowly started bringing in vehicles which were significantly lesser price. And right now they have the Tesla Model 3, which is starting at somewhere around $30,000. That movement has been very essential. And this is a change which we expect to see everywhere. In India, in Europe, in Africa, every country. As electric vehicles become more and more accessible, the technology becomes more and more accessible, the pricing will come down. Those are some of the interesting and important issues to address. What role can the governments and businesses across the world can play in this?
Look, I think governments can play a significant role in promoting this growth of electric vehicles, and just not electric vehicles, but the entire ecosystem. By creating obviously favorable policies for incentives to encourage, adoption by the government, in a very, very mass scale. Policies include tax rebates, other, financial incentives, subsidies, which will reduce the road taxes, which will reduce cost for EVs. This can also invest in the development of charging. Charging is extremely important. I'm harping on it. They can be, that will reduce the anxiety of our drivers, and that's something that's important. Also, what I want to say is, don't ask always what the government can do for you. We also have to put in, there has to be public-private partnerships. Financing is something that is a real issue. The government needs to do more. I've talked about it at many conferences, at many press conferences, in various major conventions. This is important. We also require that, the entire, and I would say, I want to give a shout out to, Chief Minister Yogi Ji, who has said the entire fleet of government vehicles will be converted to EVs. I want to say to, Honorable Chief Minister Kejriwal Ji, who's continuously moving towards green energy. I was just in Punjab over the weekend, and there was a huge movement of that. And this is happening in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, in Kerala. This is a continuous country development. I think we need to promote the transportation, the mobility, the buses, the trucks. There's a talk that by 2030 all four-wheelers have to be electric. This is something which is superb. We are working on alternate technologies in hydrogen and many other ways to come out. The key thing is 31 most polluted cities are in our country. That needs to change.
So putting it in a nutshell, it's going to be a very mixed approach. The government has to bring in their part with supportive incentives, supportive legislation changes, while businesses have to bring in their expertise in manufacturing, combined with the hunger to bring in adoption in its own company itself by supporting its employees for getting electric vehicles. And we can see a significant investment in doing research and development for electric vehicles. By working together, we can create a sustainable transportation future. We can reduce our carbon emissions.
First of all, it was just awesome and exciting, sitting in the studios here, basically EV की बात करने में बहुत अच्छा लगा. लेकिन बात नहीं करनी, action. Uday Narang and OSM is about delivering action in the front lines. And ये responsibility मैं लूँगा और मेरी entire team of Vengers लेगा. Thank you. It was great to be here, and I hope that we have more and more of this EVkiBaat for all of our audiences and for all the public at large. Thank you once again.
This is how today's episode comes to an end. But it's not the end. We're going to continue with this series and bring in more content on EVkiBaat. Stay tuned for more.